Tani and I just spent all morning at the studio filming some modules for you guys. And we just wanted to hop on here real quick and just get you as excited about this program as we are.
Yeah, super, super excited. It's been so much fun. Betty and I, it shouldn't even be called work.
No,
We have too much fun.
it's a labor of love, and it's really become such a passion project for both of us. We're loving every minute of this.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. You know, I've worked with a lot of women over the years, but to really get to dive deep has been fun.
Yeah, I know one of the conversations we had early when we started talking about doing this was how I didn't really start at zero. I started at such a deficit, even after having gone to PT, and how, I really needed so much remediation and so much extra hand holding, and Tani was there for me for all of it. She gave me all the modifications I needed, but still the strength had to come from me. It had to come from wanting to change. I went to Dr. Novelli and I got some treatment. I went to PT, did the whole thing, came back from that feeling better. I was kind of out of pain and I could walk, but stairs were still troubling and it just wasn't strong. But you leave PT and they expect you to keep up on it. They expect you to build from there. And of course, I just didn't. And I never followed up with getting stronger and actually going to any kind of strength training or anything like that. So yeah, that's where I was. I was through PT, but then I had slacked off and I was really weak.
I've trained so many people who are new and they're so surprised by how much they can do relatively quickly, but it is a matter of showing up and putting in the work and learning and, being willing to do it messy and just try some things. People are so amazed and so excited because they're like, oh my gosh, like this doesn't hurt anymore, or now I can do this again. It's fun. It's one of my favorite things to get to do with people.
Talk about doing it messy. I had a really rough start. I started coming to the studio in those first few months. I was only showing up maybe to 2 classes, then 3, then trying to do 1 a week. But it wasn't until last July that I really locked it in and started coming on a regular basis and really dedicating myself to this. So it's really kind of my 1-year anniversary here of really working hard. And it's just amazing how quickly it came, and then how quickly my brain changed to, it's not something I have to do, it's something I get to do. Once you make that shift and you decide that your mobility is worth saving because it is, because it's all you've got,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once it starts to decline, you can always do something, but it doesn't get easier, right? The longer you wait.
No.
But once you make a decision, like you just said, and you lock in a little bit, like big things can happen quickly. I mean, I think my oldest client, how old was she? In her 90s. I mean, she was an older woman and she did what she could and we worked on things and she was able to get stronger and do more.
I saw my mom go through the whole thing. So my mom, she had a lot of problems. She had COPD, she had diabetes, she had a lot of joint pain. She had COPD, so she would have frequent bouts of pneumonia, and they'd send her to the hospital. At one point, she was like on a ventilator for 10 days. I mean, it was bad. And she'd lay there and lose all her muscle, and then they'd put her through a rehab program. And surprisingly, for a long time, they were able to get her back on her feet. But, every time she went to the hospital, and then she went to rehab, and she got sent home, she came back a little weaker. She just kind of, just a little bit at a time. It was just each time she got sick, she came back weaker. And it got to a point where she just didn't have any strength left anymore to fight it, and she just kind of sat here and left her mobility just go. She had some falls, she had to call 911. She fell getting off the toilet once. It was embarrassing for her. She had to call 911. I was at work, and she had to have the fireman come and pick her up off the floor with no pants on. It was something that when I saw that, happening to her, and I was already overweight, and I already had knee issues, and I'm seeing all these things, and I'm like, I'm on her path. This is my future. She's only 19 years older than I am. And so, that was my wake-up call, just watching her decline. So she ended up in the nursing home far too young. She was only just physically, basically, in prison. So, that's my mission now. My mission now is to make sure that I don't end up in her situation, but, also anybody else that I can inspire. That's just my goal here.
100%. And look, I know squats aren't fun. We don't want to go and do them. We don't want to pick up a heavy weight. But I will say that to them, you have to be able to get up and down off the toilet. You do not want to have to call your daughter or your son or strangers to come and pick you up, exactly what you're saying. And like, we make light of it a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's 100% true.
Yeah.
Push more weight. Get a little bit lower.
And I'll tell you what, you use that analogy about getting off the toilet a lot, and my mother did fall getting off the toilet, but I noticed when my knee was really, really horrible, I had more problem with the eccentric, with the lowering, so I was like plopping down on the toilet. I didn't have that strength in my legs to lower myself gracefully onto a chair. I was plop. And then it's using your hands, to get up. You just couldn't stand up with just my legs, but my first viral video was doing single leg sit-to-stands with a 15-pound weight in my hand, and people can't believe that I could do that on arthritic knees. I just went to see Dr. Novelli again for a follow-up yesterday, and he let me film some amazing stuff, and I'm putting that together for you. But the one thing that I really came away from there understanding was I wasn't bone on bone. Bone on bone technically means you have no cartilage left. I do have cartilage in there left, but because my hips were so out of line and my ankles had poor mobility, my knees weren't in alignment properly. So those bones were grinding on each other just because they weren't aligned properly. And all those years that they were grinding, I was doing more damage to that cartilage. I didn't realize that. When I first went to the surgeon about it, I was like, what can I do? And he said, well, you're not a candidate for surgery. You're young and you just need to lose some weight and do some PT and strength training. And I was like, well, that seems hard. And it seemed like it was going to take too long. And so I was like, just give me the shot. Just give me the injection. And I took the cortisone injection. And the very first one, I tell you what, the relief that I got from that, just from having that screaming pain nonstop to just taking that inflammation storm down and getting some relief from that pain, it was worth it, I guess. What I'm sad about is that I didn't just listen to him and lose weight and go to PT and start strength training, because I would have been so much further down the line. So, I took the injection and I got relief for a long time, but all of a sudden, like, I had a real strange reaction to it. It just made all the ligaments and tendons around my knee burn. It just burned. And I said to my husband at one time, I was like, I feel like I just took the pain from inside my joint and moved it outside into the muscles. Like it just changed one pain for another. It wasn't solving my problem. So that's when I started looking for another solution, because these shots weren't working. And so I saw an advertisement for this Knee Center of America, Dr. Novelli, and I'm to perfectly honest with you, I was desperate. And it sounded like snake oil, and I didn't care. Like, I was just like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I got to try something. I took my husband out there for the presentation, and my husband's just giving me these looks like, I don't know, like this guy's making some pretty big promises here. And I don't know what it was, but I looked at Dr. Novelli while he was talking, and he just convinced me that he believed himself. He convinced me that he had the key, that he knew how to help me, and I believed it. So I took the chance. I had a bunch of work travel coming up, and he was adamant that I needed to be able to do this program straight through and not skip. He said, I don't feel good taking your money if you're not going to be able to complete the program the way I've prescribed it. So when do you have 7 weeks in your schedule? And it wasn't until later in the fall. I think it was the very beginning of November. So I started the treatment. Every time I went, it was traction, red light therapy, which I don't think they really did much. The TENS therapy, that's mostly just moving that synovial fluid in and out of the joint. It's relieving some pain. I don't think that was the key to the treatment. I think that the decompression was the key to the treatment, and the physical therapy. So then I did an hour of physical therapy 3 times a week. And so that was a good start. I started trying to work on my weight. I did keto. I dropped 45 pounds that year. I actually dropped that 45 pounds probably in the first 6 months, and I was stuck for 6 months. And that's when I found you. So Tani opened a little fitness studio that's literally 0.6 miles away from my house, and I can walk there. I love it. I started going, but like I said, it was tough. I just wasn't ready. So when we started talking about we needed to make a program for you guys, the first thing I said to Tani was like, it's got to be like so easy. Like, it's just really, I want them to make progress. I know you know what we need to do to challenge ourselves, but I need you to really make it easier than I had it, because what I needed to do was make sure that you had time to really lock in each movement and learn it to mastery. Because the way I did it, I was doing all these different classes, but that meant learning a lot of things all at once, and it was confusing me, it was kind of frustrating me, and it was a little bit overwhelming. So I was like, we need to like bring this back to like, I want to give them one workout that they can do 3 times that week, really, really learn it, and then give them the next week. And then let them go at their own pace and only add a few new exercises each time, or a variation of it each time. And so that's exactly what Tani has developed for us. We've filmed a few weeks of it now, so we're getting ready for you. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited to get to make it, because at my studio, I try so hard to make classes accessible to people and give options and make sure that everybody can feel comfortable. But I have had people be like, oh yeah, when I first started, it was like crazy hard. So it's really fun to get to give people that bridge so that they don't feel like they're just jumping in to something, really intense. And also, I think as far as fitness goes, like, I am not the norm. A lot of fitness instructors are like, you need to do it the way I say, put the weight down when I say so. Like, it's boot camp-ish style. And personal trainers are like that too. I work with a lot of trainers, and they're like, well, I don't understand. I tell people to do stuff and they don't do it. And I'm like, well, then they're not ready to do it. Right. But they just think I'm the one who knows and you have to do it.
The one piece for me being with you is that you don't just tell us what to do, you tell us why. And when you get that why and you start making those connections, I mean, we're smart women. We've lived on this planet for a long time and we know things. So when you get that knowledge, when it's not just feeling like you're just flailing around for no reason whatsoever, and you're really doing these things for a purpose, and that's what Tani gives. You're going to love it because, first of all, she invites you to do things. She doesn't demand you do things. And then she tells you what to do. She gives you a modification if you need it. She gives you an advancement if you're ready. And then the whole time you're working, she's talking. And that does 2 things for me. First of all, it educates me. And the second thing is that I get to just listen to Tani's voice. I'm just listening to Tani. I kind of get lost in it. I lose track of what time it is or how many reps I've done. And then before you know it, the class is over. It's great.
So true.
Before we hang up today, though, I want to also make sure that everyone understands the importance of the community. So we have a weekly call, a coaching call, and it's kind of like group therapy, really. We get to talk things out, and we get to support each other and celebrate our wins, and that right there is everything. And I just remember saying to Tanya, it's like, actually I didn't say it to Tanya, I said it to the group. I said, I've never had something like this before. I've never been to group therapy. I've never been to any kind of like really supportive group thing with a bunch of other women, and I cannot believe how amazing it is. You get so much out of it.
Yeah, I would say those are my favorite times of the week when we get to do that, because I ask everybody, what are your wins this week? What can we celebrate? But also the challenges that women have and the things that they're facing, and when they are open and they share, and everybody else gets to help them to work through that and gets to help to give ideas. Like, oftentimes I don't have to say a lot, because you women as the community are coming together and supporting each other, and it's beautiful. It's so much fun. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and so we are looking to build something like that into our program here with you. There's going to be a lot more of you, so it's going to be a little bit different. We're probably going to have you submit questions ahead of time. And but we're going to come on at least once a week, and we're going to do some live streams, and we're going to do some live coaching with you, answer your questions. It's going to be amazing. So how long do we have now until we're going to open that cart and let people sign up for next step? It's not much longer.
Not much longer. We're coming up on 2 weeks, I believe. Pull out my calendar. And Betty and I have, like we said, had a lot of fun putting it together and really trying to think through every piece that you guys are going to need. And I can't wait.
Yeah. And another thing that we're going to really want you to do right now is, if you haven't already downloaded my free class, please take that, because it is a really good foundation. You can use it as a warm-up in your routine, like going forward. So it's very valuable. Please go download it and get yourself on the wait list, because the wait list, when that opens, you're going to get a special discount for being a founder. And we're looking at this program, and we really want to give you the goods. So originally, Tani designed it to be an 8-week program, and then I asked her, I really want it to be slow. I want it to be gentle. She's like, Betty, I got to get people to a certain level, though. And if you make me go too slow, we're not going to get there. And I'm like, well, I guess we're just going to have to give them more weeks then. So now it's going to be a 12-week program for those of you who sign up with us as a founder. You're going to get 12 weeks for the price of 8. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I really am super, super excited. I can't wait to meet the women. You know, I'm in the comments in the group with you and on Facebook and all over social media, and to get to read the stories. And I can't wait to have more deeper conversations with these women. So it's going to be really
And if you're
amazing.
not yet a member of the Old Ladies in Training group, please join our group. There's lots of good conversations going on in there, and we're going to be using that group to drop a bunch of resources. So our fitness studio, it's not one of these beach bunny body gyms that everybody goes to. Almost everybody is my age or older. It's a very comfortable place for us older women. Tani attracts a certain tribe, and they're pretty awesome. And that's what we're trying to attract here on the internet as well. We want a bunch of old ladies in training who are just ready to train for their old lady bodies 1 rep at a time.
Can't wait. Super excited. We'll see you soon.